The fate of President Biden's vaccine policies now rest in the Supreme Court. Today, justices debated whether the White House has the legal power to enforce COVID measures in workplaces. The rules would affect nearly 100 million Americans. The court heard nearly 4 hours of arguments in two cases that challenge the president's policies. One of them involves a vaccine or testing requirement for large private businesses. The other, a vaccine mandate for most healthcare workers. In arguments today, the court's conservative justice seemed skeptical of sweeping rules for businesses. Chief Justice John Roberts said the White House appears to be trying to push COVID requirements on much of the nation. He says that decision should be left to Congress, not federal agencies.
It seems to me that the government is trying to work across the waterfront, and it's just going agency by agency. I understand the idea that agencies are more expert than Congress, but this is something that the federal government has never done before.
The court's three liberal justices appeared to support the measures. Justice Elena Kagan said action is needed to address the pandemic.
It is by far the greatest public health danger that this country has faced in the last century. And this is the policy that is most geared to stopping all this.
Both cases went to the court on an emergency basis, and that means the justices could issue a decision in just a matter of days. CNBC senior White House correspondent Kayla Tausche on our top story tonight. Kayla.
Shep, religious groups asked the Supreme Court for today's rare emergency hearing to keep the vaccine mandates from large companies from taking effect Monday. And attorneys representing Republican-led states and large businesses argued the rule should be paused immediately. Liberal justices seizing on the recent surge in COVID cases and arguing workplaces do, in fact, pose, in the government's parlance, grave dangers.
You have to be there. You have to be there for 8 hours a day. You have to be there in the exact environment that the workplace is set up with. And you have to be there with a bunch of people you don't know and who might be completely irresponsible. Where else do people have a greater risk than at the workplace?
The White House says it's confident in its legal authority, but the 6 conservative justices skeptical, warning it could set a precedent for future infectious diseases, and it's not tailored to specific industries. Chief Justice John Roberts sharply criticizing the administration's fragmented approach, pursuing separate tracks to vaccinate federal employees, federal contractors, healthcare workers, and private employees. The latter to rest with the Supreme Court to move forward in full. The National Federation of Independent Businesses, which first challenged the mandate, says for employees who want to choose a test over a shot, there aren't tests available, and the impact of the mandate would be swift.
On Monday, we do expect to see people quitting their jobs if this rule goes effect. And these are people we are not going to get back. The worker shortage is real. This mandate is only going to exacerbate that reality.
The justices appeared open to a temporary stay to allow more time to parse the evidence before a final decision. Shep?